My name is Abby and I am the Sunflower Baker. And today I would like to welcome you into my home to bake along with me. I hope you all are doing well. Spring has sprung here in Kentucky and we're having our warm days like yesterday and our wet days like today. It's been sprinkling today and all of my flowers are getting drinks and it's just absolutely lovely. Spring is one of my favorite times of years to see all the blooms on the trees and the flowers, and it's great. So today we're actually going to be making something savory. We're going to be making cheese thyme cookies. Now, if you've never made your own cheese crackers, you're in for a treat. These are absolutely delicious. A friend of mine, when she tried a batch, said this is what a Cheez-It should be. And I call them cookies because they actually have more in common with a shortbread cookie than they do a cracker. And we're going to find that out as we go through the process. So let's take a look at our ingredients. Before we do that, I just wanted to mention that today's recipe comes to us from Bake From Scratch magazine. It's the March-April 2021 issue. So that's a magazine I like to subscribe to. So anyway, let's take a look at our ingredients and get started. All right, so I have washed my hands. As you can see, I whacked my finger against something sharp while I was getting things ready. So I'm gonna slip on a glove because blood and Band-Aids do not go well with food. Anyway, so let's see what we have for these delicious, delicious cookies. So we're going to have 1.5 cups of flour, a 1/2 cup of cheddar cheese. You can use yellow cheddar or white cheddar, a 1/2 cup of Gouda, and both of these do need to be shredded. And then I've got 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of mustard powder, 1/8 teaspoon of paprika, 1/8 teaspoon of pepper, and 1 tablespoon of fresh thyme, and I gave that a little bit of a chop. And then you're gonna want a 1/2 cup of cubed cold butter. All right, so there we go. There's all our stuff. So what we're going to do is we're gonna just pop everything into the bowl. Just like that. Give that a little bit of a stir. And then I'm gonna pop in my cheese. I'm gonna left in there. And then just give that a little bit of a toss. All right, and now you're gonna notice that we're gonna be doing something very similar to what we've done in previous videos. We are gonna toss in the butter and we're just gonna start cutting this in. So I'm gonna put that in there. I'm going to give this just a little bit of a toss to coat it. There we go. And I am going to start out with my pastry cutter today just to get started. So we're just going to start getting that butter cut in there. And this one, you notice that we don't have any liquid to go into it. So really all we're doing is we're just gonna continue to work this until it becomes a dough. And you want the cold butter because it's gonna be nice and flaky using the cold butter. We don't wanna, if we melted the butter and added the butter in, it's just gonna it's not gonna be a nice flaky cookie like we want. So as you see, we're about at a pea size here. So now I'm gonna get my hands in, and I'm just gonna start rubbing that butter in. Just gonna do. It's nice to put on some music and just jam while you're rubbing in your butter. Should be an analogy for something. I'm gonna rub in the butter today. Anyway. We're just gonna keep going. It'll be fun. I might try to put some music on the background here so you guys can see, because it's gonna take a little while. And if your hands get tired, that's okay. You can stop and pop this in the fridge and then go back to it. Because I admit, it's a lot of exercise for your hands. Been doing this motion a lot this week. Probably made about over, let's see, 150 and then some more. So I think I made about 220 biscuits this weekend. Ooh, biscuits nice and fluffy and good. We're gonna have to make those sometime. All right, so as we see, we're getting to a nice little mealy texture here. Still going. So when I first made this, I was curious as, what size of shred should I go on the cheese? And the cheese grater has a fine shredder and the meat kind of the larger shredder. And I just kind of stayed with the larger shred, and I really like how it turned out. I don't know if doing a fine shred would make any difference. I think it'll still be a nice flaky cookie, but I like how you get kind of the lumps of cheese, baked cheese in there, because you all know if you've had baked cheese is absolutely delicious. All right, so we are at, see how we're at a nice mealy texture here. So as I rub, I'm going to start squeezing this, and that's going to kind of help the butter start sticking together. And we're going to go, so what we've done is we've taken it and we've refined it as much as we can, and now we're pretty much going to go the opposite way, and we're going to start clumping it together. So I'm just putting my hands in and just squeezing it to make clumps, so that butter and the flour and the cheese and everything are going to want to stick together. So let's see how it's starting to clump, and that it's starting to kind of form a really, really flaky dough. And with the way these turn out, I think if you added water or any kind of liquid to them, it really wouldn't turn out the way that we do. And I'll show you that, after we get them baked. Because I know I keep saying this, but they're such a good cookie. I think you could experiment with different types of cheeses. I think you do want to use a harder cheese. You probably don't want to use a goat cheese, although goat cheese is delicious. It might be a little too soft. And use some basil or some oregano or some marjoram in there. Even put a little bit of garlic powder. But this is a really good base recipe to start off with. And then you can do whatever experiments you want. As you see, look, we're getting nice big clumps here. I'm getting small clumps down here. It's coming together. It's coming together. I said this is a lot of handwork. So again, if you need to rest, just pop this in the refrigerator so that the butter stays cold. And then, or at this point, you probably don't, because the butter's warmed up a little bit, so you might just want to put it in a cool, someplace that's not going to get hot, and the butter's going to melt. Getting everywhere, aren't I? All right, that's fine. So at this point, you can pull it out onto the counter. And I'm gonna show you a trick. And usually I do this with parchment paper. But to tell you the truth, I keep forgetting to buy parchment paper. So I'm just gonna use my Silpat to pull this out onto. And I'm sorry about the jiggly video, I keep hitting that with my head. All right. So the goal right now is to just, come here, get it to come together. You're gonna make a ball, or attempt to make a ball. There we go. Okay, so now, if you're doing this on a counter and not on a Silpat or a parchment paper, at this point you might want to get just a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit of flour so it does not stick to your counter. But what I am actually going to do, so I'm going to take this. And this could also be a piece of parchment paper, not a Silpat. I'm going to take my other Silpat, or again, another piece of parchment paper, and put it over and make a sandwich. Get that bowl out of the way. I'm going to take my rolling pin, and I'm going to just start rolling it. And this, having a piece of Silpat or parchment, you really do not have to worry about having the dough stick to either your table or to the rolling pin itself. I'm just gonna knock this off my table, aren't I? Let's put these out of the way. Here we go. Now we can have ultimate rolling room. So, and we want this to be about 1/4 inch thick. So, and if it starts to escape, that's okay. You can just pop it off and put it, that's a little thin there. Just put it there, pop this off, put it there, and you see it still is a very crumbly dough. I'm gonna actually take and push in my edges so they're not as crumbly. So, using this method and not putting flour down also guarantees you're not going to use too much flour and make these tough. No tough cookies here, just nice flaky ones. All right. All right. Okay. Got a little bit of a bump right there. Okay, and that's fine. He's right on the edge, but that's okay. All right, so that's nice and even. So now what I'm gonna do is I am gonna put you can either, if you have this between parchment paper, put it on parchment paper. I'm gonna put this here so it's sandwiched in between and air won't dry it out. And I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator for about an hour because we want that butter to harden up again so that we can easily cut it to bake. So I'm gonna pop this in the refrigerator and then we're gonna be back, and you're gonna want something to cut it out with. You can get a pizza roller if you wanna make shapes. You can get a little biscuit cutter if you want. I mean, you can even get a cookie cutter and cut it into shapes. I'm gonna do something weird today. This is actually a crinkle potato slicer, but I'm gonna use it to make crinkly edged rectangular cookies. So, one of those fun things that I found in my drawer. I'm gonna use that, and I'm also probably gonna make some round ones today. So, I'm gonna pop this in the refrigerator, and I will see you all in an hour. All right, so it's been an hour, and our dough has set up. So I am just gonna turn this over, and then I'm just gonna use this Silpat to bake on. So make sure that you have your pan ready. You're gonna want a Silpat or a piece of parchment paper down. And then you get to have some fun. So we do have a little bit of butter there, that's fine. That'll be fine. So let's see. I am gonna just have some fun, you know, cut these however you want. There we go. So like I said, I've got my little crinkle cutter. I'm gonna start out with a rectangular shape. I want to make like little kind of cookie sticks. So I'm gonna go in the center. There we go. Take one. I'm gonna go probably about that big with them. Make sure I get them all the way cut. See how nicely and crispy edges are? That's what happens when you refrigerate it and that butter solidifies. So then we're just gonna set them on here. And they don't puff up that much, so you can put them pretty close together. And I'll take these bits and do some round cookies. If you want to kind of make them a little fancier, you can take a fork and put some little perforations in them. They don't really need that. You might get a couple air bubbles, but you should not be getting very many. Just, you know, have fun with your cookies. A really skinny bar cookie. There we go. All right, so these can just be I am just gonna make another bowl. Come here. There we go. And I will roll this out again and put it back in the refrigerator while my other cookies are baking. And then when they're done, I can switch them out for this. So these are gonna go in the oven at 350 degrees, and you're gonna wanna bake them for around 10 minutes. They're gonna brown on a little bit on the bottom, but you really don't want them to brown very much. So I'm gonna go bake these and we'll see what they look like when they're done. All right, our cheese cookies are out of the oven and they just smell so very delicious. Just a wonderful smell of thyme and baked cheese. It's so nice. You're gonna wanna leave them on the pan and let them cool off a little bit before transferring them to a wire rack, because they are a little delicate when they first come out of the oven. But I wanted to show you. So as you see, they don't brown up very much, but you can see the bits of cheese that has browned on the top. That's what you want to look for. So, and if we, see, this one got a bubble in it, but that's okay. Still delicious. Let's do the one we did this one. So if you look at the bottom, there is a very, very light browning, but not very much of a brown. Let's take a look at one of these larger ones and try not to break it. Yep, again, very light browning. They are not going to brown up very much, but that's all right. That's what we want. So we're gonna let these cool and then we can pop them into our mouth. Don't pop it into your mouth now. I'm telling you this from experience because you will burn your tongue. Anyway, so there are our cheese cookies and they smell delicious. Oh, here, let me break one open for you. So these are very crumbly, especially when they're still hot, but still good. So I'm gonna pop it open and just look at, I'm gonna eat this one myself because it has a fuzzy in it. Well, I'm glad I broke that open. That one's not gonna go to my friends. So if you can see in there, I see the nice flaky layers. That's a really good flake in there, and they're nice kind of crumbly cookies. So there we go. So see if I have a, nope, it's just on that one side. I had that little fuzzy in there. That's all right. That will be my snack later. All right, so here we go. These are the cheese cookies. So I hope yours turn out as delicious smelling as mine did.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you will visit soon. Please don't forget to help me out by liking this video, or if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so that you get notifications. If you have any questions or comments about today's video, you can leave them below. You can come to the Sunflower Baker Facebook page, or you can email me at abby@sunflowerbaker.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Did you make the cheese thyme cookies today? Aren't they delicious? I would love to see pictures if you made them. I love seeing pictures of what people are doing. So please feel free to pop over to the Facebook page and leave a picture and just I love baking. I love baking. It's fantastic. And I love to share baking. And I love it when other people share baking with me. It's absolutely fantastic. So I hope that you are all happy and healthy, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye!